And so this is really the choice that we have when we're reading through these passages, because if you read right down into the rest of the passage, then he doesn't even explain, like in a parable, he would say, the kingdom of heaven is like, blah, 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 blah. And then the disciples kind of look at him and say, Master, what do you mean by blah, blah, blah? And then Yeshua would say, do you not understand? And then he'll kind of break down the elements of the parable, but he doesn't do that here. So when we read the Luke passage next week, be careful to watch for this fourth, A, B, C, and D, this fourth part, which if the allegory is accurate, that Jesus is here to uproot the old and replace it with new, well, then in the allegorical aspect, or the way that the most Christian pastors are spinning this passage, if we read the Luke account, it poses serious challenges for the allegorical perspective. I'm not going to do that tonight, but we'll do that next week. What we have been doing is we've been working our way through David Stern's commentary on this passage. David Stern is a Messianic Jew, and he wrote the complete Jewish Bible and its complete Jewish, the Jewish New Testament commentary. So originally he put out a Jewish New Testament alone. I think he originally started with just the book of John and wrote it from a Jewish perspective, a Jewish worldview, a Messianic Jewish perspective, just translating it using verbiage and terminology and nomenclature that Jewish people would maybe feel a little bit more comfortable reading. And then he branched out and did the whole New Testament, and he called it the Jewish New Testament. And then he wrote a commentary to justify all of his stylistic changes and theological changes to his translation. And then he eventually wrote a full Bible from Old Testament to New Testament called the Complete Jewish Bible. All right, something like that. Well, anyway, we've been reading his commentary, and let's just pick up the paragraph right where you can see the highlight, and keep reading there. This was where we left off last week. This last paragraph I'll just read one more time. He says, the early Messianic Jews of Yeshua's day did adapt Messianic faith to Judaism, but the later Gentile Church did not. So we're talking about this challenge of what do we do with Yeshua's radical form of teaching? Was it so radical that it necessitated a disposal or disruption of the Jewish worldview, and a disposal or a getting rid of the law of Moses so that we can replace it with something new? I say no, and David Stern agrees with me that no, this wouldn't really fit in with the theology of the promises that are found throughout the Tanakh about God sending a new covenant to Israel. It does not say in the bringing of the new covenant that God is going to replace the old covenant with the new covenant. Indeed, God says through the mouth of Jeremiah, the prophet, when the new covenant comes, I, God, am going to pour my spirit out upon you, place him within you, and this new covenant experience is going to result in you, Israel, corporately keeping my laws, not disregarding them and turning away from them. So David Stern's working from that perspective. He believes, like I do, that the Jewish person interacting with Jesus in his day has to make a choice. And this is the section that I'm calling Old Man, New Man, and Messianic Judaism. The question is put forth, is it possible to be a Jewish person and retain your commitment to the Torah and keep practicing a Jewish lifestyle in the time of Yeshua? What was the essential challenge of Yeshua's message? Is it to get rid of the law of Moses so that we can bring in the law of Jesus? Or was it instead to get rid of the old man so that we can allow the new man to be born and to shine and to live for God? I say it's the second one. I think that what Yeshua is talking about is a death to self so that the new man can be born alive, anew, afresh, and this new man will be empowered to be able to do the will of God. And so turning right back around as a Jew and continuing to be loyal to the law of God, yet doing it now with a renewed sense of love for God, love for your man, love for Messiah, and empowered by the Holy Spirit to actually walk in God's ways. So the early Messianic Jews, they actually did adapt Messianic faith to Judaism. They took their belief in Jesus and they adapted it, meaning they took what was radically new about this new covenant message, the new heart, the circumcised heart, the born again experience, and they took Judaism and they were able to make a religion known as Messianic Judaism, right? Or we could call it early Christianity. Either way, it was a worldview, a religion, a lifestyle that was still very much attached to the original foundational aspects of God's law and things like that, even to the point of keeping sacrifices at the temple, even though you're a believer, right? Go back and read through the book of Acts and watch what Paul does in Acts chapter 21.